Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Students for Machine Learning in Business welcome presentation. I'm recording this ahead of time of the live presentation because I realized that you can't actually record Google Meets anymore. That was only a temporary feature, apparently. So I'm just recording this live in Zoom right now. And so if you're watching this later, you can just give it a watch. And if you have any other sorts of questions, you can direct them to me. I can give you my contact information and stuff at the end of the presentation. But I'm glad you're here to join us. And I'm hoping that this presentation will clear up any sorts of questions you have about the group. You can expect the presentation to be around half an hour to 40 minutes. So welcome. So here's a broad overview of all the topics we'll be covering today. We'll start with who are we, some of our founding principles, and what the objectives of the group are. We'll introduce you to all of the current members of the team. We'll talk about our short to long-term plans and what membership in the group actually entails. I'll give you a very, very brief overview of what machine learning is and its applications in business. I'll describe our first challenge, and I'll also give some details about our Slack and how you can get in there. So we'll start the presentation with a conversation about our goals and principles. So first of all, you probably guessed from our name that we are a student group dedicated to investigating artificial intelligence and machine learning applications for businesses and for entrepreneurship. This means finding ways to create machine learning management. This means finding ways to create machine learning algorithms to automate management, accounting, marketing, finance, business tasks. We believe that there's a great amount of potential that exists in these fields for machine learning. And there is no other group at the university dedicated to investigating these potentials. So that's one of our principles. Another key feature of our group is that we are dedicated to taking students from a very wide variety of backgrounds. I noticed in our sign-up sheet, we got a very diverse range of backgrounds. We had some students in business and commerce. We had some students in computer science, engineering, biology. This is fantastic. This is exactly what we were going for. We want an environment where people at any skill level can jump in and become a part of the community. These types of problems that apply to businesses require a holistic approach to problem solving. So this means that employing a wide variety of people is essential. So we think everybody has a voice in these sorts of problems, and we think that you're all going to be a great addition to the team. So our last founding principle here is that we want to create a place to compete and collaborate in friendly artificial intelligence and machine learning challenges. This means that we will design some sort of business problem that is common in the real world, and everybody will compete and collaborate to make the best machine learning solution to it, with prizes at the end for the winners. This should give everybody coding, machine learning, and data science experience that they can carry forward into their future careers. After each challenge, we'll also have a presentation day where people can share their findings and their methods and discoveries for the maximum amount of learning. On this slide, you can see our poster that we made for Challenge Zero, which I'll explain more as the presentation goes on. Let's do a brief introduction of all of the current members. It's a small group so far, so we're excited to have so many signups. I'll start off with myself. You can see I am the founder and president of SMLB. I'm a third year math and physics student at the U of A. I'm also a systems engineer for the university's satellite group, AlbertaSat. So I know a few people signed up that were in AlbertaSat, and I'm really glad to have all of you. Outside of school, I'm into weightlifting and hiking and producing my own music. You can see a nice picture of me hiking in Nelson, BC. So I included this figure here to explain why I've started this group. So I was introduced to machine learning as a concept after being a research assistant at the U of A hospital this last summer. We designed a deep learning algorithm to segment different cardiac structures. So what that means is we designed an algorithm that would take images of a heart and then sort it into its different components. So it would say, these pixels belong to the left ventricle, these pixels belong to the right ventricle, these pixels belong to the myocardium. This figure shows this algorithm that we designed and some of its best performance. This research opportunity got me extremely excited about machine learning and all of its applications. So I thought that it would be great if there was a student group where we could investigate these applications for business. Next up, we have our vice president, Juan Marin. He couldn't come to present, but he gave us a small video here. I actually don't know if you can see this right now, but I'll just introduce him anyways. Juan is a mechanical engineering graduate. He became a part of the group a couple months ago and has been helping to set up everything. He'll be the vice president. So I encourage you to introduce yourself to him if you get the chance. Next up was that third face on the slide where I introduced everybody, Jaslyn. Jaslyn is a double major in drama and psychology in her fourth year. These majors have lent themselves very well to helping us with the communications aspects of the group. So this means that she's done a very fantastic marketing video for us and also various posters that you'll see. So Jaslyn's a good illustration that you don't need to be a computer scientist to be involved in this group. So, okay, so we've talked about the group and our goals, but what do we actually do? This will change over time because we're such a newly formed group, but I prepared a brief outline for what membership in the group will look like in 2020 and beyond. So I've broken the timeline into 4 different periods here, and I'll briefly go through all of them. We'll start with the group's launch, which is the period we're in right now until October 23rd. So right now we're in the process of launching the group and taking registrations from UAlberta students. We're pretty much just trying to direct anybody who's interested in the group and its goals to the website. You can see the website here on the left, which I think you all would have visited in order to sign up. We will also be providing newcomers with resources for how to get started in Python. Python's a programming language which has pretty much become the industry standard for machine learning. I want to emphasize right now, by the way, that it's fine if you're here and you have no exposure to Python or coding. We're trying to curate these resources to get everybody up to a level where they feel like they can participate in these challenges. We're also just trying to put everybody in Slack and start having good conversations in the Slack. and we'll be taking registrations for our first machine learning challenge. So the next epoch, or the next period, is the duration of Challenge 0. So we've designed our first challenge already, which will start on October 23rd. It's called the SMLB Inaugural Challenge, and we've given it the title Challenge 0. We've called it Challenge 0 because it'll be a bit of a testing grounds for both the participants and the organizers to become familiar with the whole challenge taking process. It'll be completely free to enter, and we want this to be a challenge that's safe for newcomers to come in and fool around in Python and use the ML packages to get used to these sorts of concepts. But we also want more advanced computer scientists to be able to try some new data science strategies. So we've designed it to try and accommodate as many different backgrounds as possible. We also want a lot of feedback from this first challenge so that we can tailor future challenges to our audience and make it as good as possible going forward. Next up, after Challenge 0 ends on November 8th, there'll be a bit of a break period. We'll do a presentation day where everybody can share their results from Challenge 0 with the whole community. This means you can get more information on what works and what doesn't for this particular problem. The challenge organizers will distribute the prizes and the results to whoever won. And hopefully you can go over everybody's submission and see what exactly works. We'll also have a better feel for what the group is and what it will need around this point. So I'm going to appoint some executive positions around this time. There's going to be a lot of leadership opportunities in this group. So I'm hoping some of you will consider that and stick around for that. During this break period, we'll also have guest speakers. We already have some contacts with Startup Edmonton and the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, who seem to be willing to provide us with some resources. So this will be a good opportunity to kind of enhance what you've learned after Challenge 0. Finally, we have the period that begins in the new year and hopefully far, far beyond that. So here's some of our longer term goals. These are obviously subject to change because we're so early on in this group. But eventually we would like to do paid challenges where there's a small fee for you to opt in so we can have better services and prizes. Currently, everything is coming out of my pocket, which is fine. But I think it would be beneficial for everybody if there was a more stable source of money for prizes and resources coming in. So that's a kind of a long-term goal. We'd like to do some collaborative events and conferences with other groups. We already have talked to people in the Artificial Intelligence in Medicine Student Society, and their logo is on the right here. They've been talking about doing a event about healthcare administration in AI, and they've offered to join with us to do that as it includes business and medicine applications of AI. So hopefully have more things like this to do in the new year. And finally, it's been a goal of mine to eventually reach the point where we can start crafting these challenges around real business cases in Edmonton. I'm thinking about taking individual businesses, designing challenges around them, and giving prizes to who can come up with the best ideas to improve their operations with machine learning and hopefully implement them. And hopefully a lot more too. I mean, these are just a few ideas. We'll have a better idea for how this group is going to look pretty soon, but this is the current plan. Okay, let me narrow down what I actually am talking about when I talk about machine learning in business. I'll give a very brief explanation of what machine learning is. So this is my favorite quote about machine learning. It says that machine learning is the study of computer algorithms that improve with experience, from the book called Machine Learning by Tom Mitchell, written in 1997. And I think this is a great quote that very quickly summarizes what machine learning is. It's just a computer program that improves with more data. As you feed the program more data, it's able to make better predictions, classifications, what have you. And I just gave a couple examples of different machine learning models on this slide. There's hundreds, but I just wanted to give a couple examples so you kind of get a handle on what different machine learning algorithms can do. You obviously don't have to know this yet, but this is just, again, a broad overview. So the first one I listed is the k-nearest neighbor algorithm, and they're used to often sort data into different categories, such as taking a picture and sorting, is this picture a picture of a dog or is it a picture of a cat? It takes features from the input data, so your picture, and it compares it to features from a larger data set. The object is then classified based on which objects in the larger data set it's closest to. So hence k nearest neighbor. And this picture here is saying that our data point we're feeding the algorithm is green here, and it's trying to be classified as either the blue square or the red triangle. Here it would be classified as the red triangle because it is the closest to the green circle. Another example of a machine learning model that I'm a little bit more familiar with would be deep learning. It's often used as a classifier, and it's famous for how it emulates neurological structures in animals. It takes in input data and strengthens various neurons based on positive or negative responses at the end. So just like how if you're texting while driving, let's say, and you get hurt, your neurons will rewire themselves to not do that again. So deep learning operates in a very similar way. It's become very, very popular in the past few years. Obviously, many more examples than this, but if you stick with this group, you'll get to experiment with these kinds of models and how they apply to businesses. One benefit to the Python programming language is that a lot of these models are already made, and you can just take them and apply them to your use cases. So you don't actually have to start from the very beginning programming these things. That's going to be very, very useful to us in this group, I think. So I mentioned it earlier, but I'll describe our first challenge, which begins on October 23rd, about predicting the price of Edmonton Airbnbs. So with up to 2 others, so either by yourself with a group of 2 or with a group of 3, you'll be provided a data set describing various features of Edmonton Airbnbs. And I just put a screenshot here of some of the data here that you'll be given, stuff like the neighborhood in Edmonton, the amount of reviews on the Airbnb, the type of property. And based on this information that you're given, you'll have to design a program that predicts the price of the Airbnb based on these features. So I basically went through Airbnb.com on Edmonton, and I went through every single result that came up on a specific day, compiled them into a data set, and then I removed about 30 of them from the larger data set. And so you'll be training your model based on the larger set, and then you'll test how well it works on the smaller set that I've pulled out that you won't be able to see. So if this is completely unfamiliar, that's totally okay. We're gonna ease you into this is the goal. I'll evaluate the predictions by the root mean square error with the true values, which I have. And the winner, and with the best results, will receive a $40 Amazon gift card, with the runner-up receiving a $25 Amazon gift card. Here they are. The only thing is they look exactly the same, so I have to figure out which is which. So I guess I'll figure out how to do that. So a key thing to take away here is that you can use any machine learning algorithm you want in order to do this problem. But I suggest on this slide that you might want to consider a multiple regression if you're new to data science and coding. And we're going to give resources for how to do multiple regressions, but this is just a broad overview, and you'll get more details when you're in the Slack. And I'll just briefly go over the different Slack channels, because hopefully I'll see you all in there, but I'll just go through all of them and their purpose. So when you're in Slack, you'll see this screen here, and with the various channels on the left-hand side here. Right now you can see that general is highlighted, and the general channel is going to be directed for any sorts of team-wide announcements. When you first get into the group, you should go to the introductions channel, which is now highlighted, and tell us who you are, why you're interested in the group, and what you're hoping to get out of it. We want to hear from you. We want to meet you. We want to make this a vibrant community as possible. So yeah, we want to hear from you in the introductions channel. There's the news channel where you can discuss news relating to machine learning developments in either businesses in Edmonton or around the world, or just machine learning developments. If you find a cool paper or something, you can link us to that. There's the networking channel where you can tell people about job opportunities or events, or maybe you're looking for somebody to work together on some sort of machine learning project. Maybe you need a partner for a challenge. This would be a good place to look for one of those. The questions and answers channel is going to be for asking questions for the organizers or the executive team, which is just me and Juan for right now. But if you have any questions for us, put it in the questions and answers channel, and we'll answer them. If you have any sorts of suggestions on how to improve the group, you should go to the suggestions channel. Obviously, if it's something that's more sensitive, you can just either DM or email me or Juan, and we can also look at them that way. But suggestions for the group can go in there. You can link additional resources for learning how to code and use machine learning packages in the useful additional info channel. And there's also a Challenge Zero channel where you can talk about the Airbnb challenge with other participants and the organizers, and you can discuss if things are working, what's not working. There's also the coding help channel, which is pretty self-explanatory, but if you're having any sort of issues making something work in Python, put it in the coding help challenge. And we have a lot of people signed up in computer science. Hopefully they'll be able to help you, or me or Juan can also do our best to help you too. The random channel is just for everything else. So if you just want to chat in there, that's totally fine. But if there's something you want to talk about that doesn't fit that well with any of these other groups or any of these other channels, just put it in the random channel. So I'm going to send out these Slack invites very soon. If you're watching this now, you should have one already, I guess. But if there's been any issues with that, you can send me an email and I'll get you in the Slack. But yeah, direct any sorts of questions you have to my email. It's carscad@ualberta.ca, carscad@ualberta.ca. So hopefully that covers everything. Thank you so much for watching. Okay.
Hi, everyone. So I just gave the presentation live and I got a few questions. So I thought I would just attach the answers to those questions at the end of the pre-recorded recording. So the first question I got was, when is the presentation day after the end of Challenge Zero? And the answer to that is we don't have a date fully planned yet, but don't expect it to be right after the challenge ends. You can expect it to be later on in November. Yeah, so not right away. We don't have a date fully planned yet, though. Are we allowed to create our own teams for Challenge Zero? Yes, you are, and it's very encouraged. Yeah, so if you want to do the challenge by yourself, that's totally fine. If you want to do it with up to 1 or 2 other people that you can find too, that's fine. You should also be able to find somebody to do the challenge with in the Slack if you don't know anybody in the group yet. So, and the last question was, where do we get the Slack link? And the answer is I'm going to be emailing everybody. So I'll say it again. If you did not get the Slack link and you're watching this video, please send me an email at carscad, CARSCADD, @ualberta.ca. Okay, thanks everyone.